Hey everyone, great to see you here on the How to English podcast channel.
Welcome back to the deep dive. Our mission today is to give you a genuine shortcut to fluency.
Yeah, we're going to take some really complex, real-world English conversations and just pull out the most important bits for you.
Exactly. The linguistic nuggets you actually need to communicate effectively.
I have to say, I never realized how much emotional weight some of these phrases carry until we started researching this. This deep dive is going to be so insightful because we're unpacking a conversation that is, well, it's both really romantic and pretty dramatic.
It really is. We have a couple navigating some very high-stakes emotional questions, and the language they use is just packed with essential phrases.
And today, our focus is really on you, the learner. We are zeroing in on the common English used when you're talking about big concepts.
Big concepts like love, sincerity, apologies, commitment.
And the future of a relationship, all the heavy stuff.
And we're going to be analyzing these phrases slowly, repeating them very clearly, and giving you all the context so you can really absorb the meaning without feeling overwhelmed.
Right. The goal is to arm you not just with vocabulary, but with the social intelligence of English. Because, knowing the words is one thing.
But knowing the subtle implied meaning behind those words, especially when emotions are running high.
That's true fluency.
Precisely. So before we break everything down, we need to set the scene.
Okay.
We want you to listen carefully to this brief dialogue. It shows a few of the key phrases we're going to study.
Yeah, you'll hear the serious opener, the question about commitment, and then the final emotional resolution.
And we want you to focus on the intent behind the words, even though we're going to perform them slowly and clearly to help you understand.
Okay, let's do it. Let's unpack this with a quick scene. Can we talk?
Sure, honey. We're talking now, aren't we?
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
I want to know where this relationship is going. I am in love with you, and I need to know.
I think you're awesome.
I am awesome. Well, I guess that is my answer, isn't it, honey? Look, if you do not love me, it is not a thing. All right. We have had our laughs, but I do not appreciate. Well, maybe it is just time we...
Baby, I love you so much.
You do?
I love you, and I think you are awesome.
Oh, baby, I'm so sorry.
Wow. Okay, that opening scene, it has a treasure trove of linguistic landmines and relationship milestones in it, right?
Absolutely. That whole exchange, that conflict and resolution, it all hinges on these really subtle differences in English phrases.
And that's exactly where we're going to start. We're moving into our first analytical segment, the Fluency Builder.
Yep. We're taking 4 foundational but deeply complex conversational phrases from that scene, and we're going to decode their true nuance for you.
This first section is all about the hidden meaning. We're diving deep into distinctions that I think are often invisible to an English learner.
But they're distinctions that native speakers rely on constantly.
Okay, so first up, this one is huge. This is arguably the most critical distinction in relationship English. It's what caused the whole crisis in our opening dialogue.
It's the difference between I love you and I am in love with you.
Right. I love you versus I am in love with you.
The difference seems so small, doesn't it? Just 2 extra words, am in. But the the linguistic difference is absolutely enormous.
It really is. It defines the kind of feeling you're communicating.
Okay, so let's start with the general phrase first.
Let's do it. I love you.
I love you.
Okay, so the verb here, to love, in this simple structure, it signifies a general deep affection or care.
We use it really broadly.
Very broadly. You use it for your family, your close friends, sometimes even for objects or activities.
Right. You could say, I love my parents, or I love this book, or I love going to the park.
It's a powerful affection, but, and this is the critical part, it is not necessarily romantic.
No, a native English speaker would never assume you meant something romantic just from hearing I love you, especially if you're saying it to a friend or a family member. It just defines a warm bond.
Now let's contrast that with the phrase the girl used to show her serious commitment in the scene.
Right.
To be in love with someone.
I am in love with you.
Let's say it again slowly. I am in love with you.
This structure, it signifies strong, intense, romantic feelings. It's defined by passion, desire, and a deep romantic connection.
When you use the phrase to be in love with, you are defining the feeling as exclusive and romantic. There's no ambiguity.
And linguistically, this difference is actually really interesting.
It is. When we say I love you, we are using an active verb. It's something we do. But when we say I am in love with you,
It's a state of being.
exactly. We're describing a fixed state, It's an adjective describing your current, profound, and often life-altering condition. It's a statey phrase. It describes a continuous internal state.
And this is the critical distinction we need you to understand. You can love many people, your parents, your siblings, your friends, but you can only typically be in love with one romantic partner at a time.
Right. That phrase, I am in love with you, is reserved almost exclusively for your husband, wife, boyfriend, or girlfriend. It defines romantic commitment.
So if you're an English learner, you want to avoid using I am in love with casually. It just carries immense weight.
It really does. When the girl in our dialogue said, I'm in love with you, she was escalating things. She was confirming that for her, this relationship was serious and potentially lifelong.
Okay, and this brings us to a common trap for learners, which is the preposition. Notice the use of with.
Yes, this is a great point. Learners sometimes struggle with this because it's a fixed phrase. They might try to say, I am in love for you, or I am in love to you, trying to translate directly from their own language.
But the only correct construction in modern English is I am in love with you. That preposition with links that state of being directly to the person.
It's a fixed phrase. You can't change it. If you're describing that powerful romantic state, always use with.
Okay, so to recap, the verb is to love general active affection.
And the structure. To be in love with a fixed romantic state of being.
Got it. Okay, moving on to the second phrase, which is so simple, but so loaded.
Yes, deceptively simple. Can we talk?
Can we talk?
Literally, the phrase is just asking for the possibility of a conversation, right? Can we talk right now?
Sure.
But the social meaning is where the real fluency challenge is. When you hear this phrase, especially from a partner or a boss, it's a significant emotional red flag.
I honestly had never thought about how much weight can we talk carries until we looked at this. It's a linguistic trap.
It is. It signals a serious conversation is coming, and that conversation is probably going to be difficult or unpleasant.
Right. If the topic was minor, like, I don't know, what's for dinner, or asking where I bought my shirt.
You would just ask the question. You'd say, where did you get that shirt? Or what should we have for dinner?
Nobody says, can we talk, to discuss pizza toppings.
Exactly. If it's used, it signals a need for full, undivided attention because the topic requires a resolution, or it addresses a conflict, or it involves a major decision. It raises the emotional temperature immediately.
And in our scene, the girl used it to signal that she was not asking about the weather.
No, she was asking about the future of the entire relationship. It's an immediate signal of importance and, well, potential crisis.
And let's analyze the boy's reaction in the scene. He says, sure, honey, we're talking now, aren't we?
Right. That response, while it seems calm on the surface, is actually what we'd call a passive-aggressive deflection. It's a key survival skill for intermediate English learners to recognize this. He's acknowledging the seriousness, but he's also minimizing it. He's trying to drag the conversation back down to something mundane.
He's avoiding the emotional labor.
He is. The phrase signals seriousness, and his response attempts to reject that seriousness. So learners really need to recognize when someone is subtly trying to avoid emotional accountability.
Okay, so question for you. Isn't this all a bit dramatic? If I say, can we talk at the office, are my colleagues going to think I'm breaking up with them?
That is an excellent question. And no, the context dictates the severity. In a professional setting, can we talk still signals importance, but the subject matter immediately limits the drama.
So you can neutralize it.
You can. You neutralize it by adding a qualifier. So instead of just, can we talk, which is very open-ended and dramatic,
you could say,
can we talk about the budget report when you have a minute? Or, can we talk about the schedule change this afternoon?
Okay. So adding the specific topic immediately lowers the red flag from relationship crisis to just important work topic.
Precisely. But if you just send a message on Slack that says, can we talk, with no context,
prepare for some mild panic on the other end.
You should. So remember the phrase itself.
Can we talk? Use it sparingly. It's your conversational megaphone for seriousness.
Oh, okay. This next phrase, you know what I mean, is a perfect example of how simple words are completely redefined by the tone you use.
You know what I mean?
At its core, it's a conversational check. It basically means, do you understand the point I am trying to make? Or are you following my context?
Right, but the mastery comes from knowing the difference between using it as a genuine question and using it as, well, an assumption.
Yes. And this is all about rising versus falling intonation. So let's break down the question first with a rising tone.
Okay.
When you raise the pitch of your voice sharply on the final words, you are genuinely asking the listener to confirm they understand.
You're looking for validation, right, because you think maybe you were confusing or unclear.
Exactly. So, for example, I might say, the instructions were so complicated and the manager was speaking really quickly, so I'm not sure I got everything. You know what I mean?
That rising tone at the end,
Yeah.
it's asking me to say, yes, I understand, or no, I'm confused too, you're feeling uncertain.
Right. Now, compare that to the statement with the falling tone. If your voice falls heavily at the end, like you're finishing a definite thought.
You're assuming I already know the reasons or the context you're talking about. You don't need to elaborate.
Exactly. The falling tone carries an assumption of shared knowledge. For instance, I just can't stand working with Michael anymore. He's always late, and he never prepares properly. You know what I mean?
You're not asking if I understand the definition of late. You're assuming I understand the frustration and the history of dealing with Michael.
This tonal difference is so crucial for listening comprehension. A rising tone invites you into the conversation to validate a point.
And a falling tone often closes the topic because they assume you're already in agreement or you already get the situation.
Let's practice hearing that difference again very slowly.
Okay.
Example 1, rising tone, the question. I felt totally out of place at that fancy party last night, wearing my old jeans. You know what I mean? Hey!
That's seeking confirmation of the feeling of discomfort. And example 2, falling tone, the statement. I am taking the day off tomorrow. I've been working 60 hours a week and I need a break. You know what I mean?
Right. You're assuming the listener understands the need for rest without any more explanation. Mastering this tone is it's a huge step.
Okay, that wraps up our intense fluency builder section. We have the difference between love and in love, the heavy weight of can we talk, and the power of tone.
And now we transition to how we put these complex structures together to talk about the past, the present, and the potential future of any situation, not just romance.
So we've covered the nuances of the past and present, but what about that anxiety about the future?
That brings us perfectly to the next structure from the scene. We're moving beyond simple definitions into how these things are actually applied.
The girl in our scene asked that really high-stakes, pivotal question.
She did. I want to know where this relationship is going.
Where is this relationship going?
The core function of this structure, where is this noun going, is to ask about the ultimate outcome, the direction or the future development of something.
In romance, it's usually a demand for commitment, right? Like, are we serious? Or are we moving forward?
It is. And linguistically, it uses the present continuous tense is going to talk about the future, which suggests an ongoing process with an uncertain end.
That uncertainty is the key element.
It is. And this is such a powerful and flexible structure because we can replace the word relationship with almost any noun that has a trajectory or a potential outcome.
Right. And this is so useful in both personal and professional context. So we should probably explore that flexibility.
Let's do it. Let's look at 6 detailed applications of this structure outside of romance. We'll keep the slow pace.
Okay, so application 1, career. This is a big one.
Yes. You might say in a professional review, for example, I feel like I'm stuck in my role. I don't know where my career is going in this company.
When you say that, you're asking about upward potential, aren't you? Promotions, growth. What's the future for me here?
Exactly. You're expressing dissatisfaction with the lack of clarity.
Okay, what about application 2, investment or finance?
Oh, this is a common one when markets are volatile. The stock market has been very turbulent this month. Where is this investment going?
You're asking about risk and return. Am I going to lose my money or is it going to grow? It implies anxiety about that ongoing financial process.
And application 3, a narrative or a plot. We touched on this, but it's worth a deeper look.
Yeah, if you're watching a really confusing TV show.
Right. This movie is so confusing. They keep introducing new characters. I have no idea where the plot is going.
You're asking about the writer's objective.
Yeah.
Like, what is the point? You're defining your current state as lost, and you're seeking the destination of the story.
What about application 4, political movements or projects?
Oh, this is a great one for talking about community efforts.
Right. After the initial public enthusiasm, the local recycling project seems to have stalled. Where is this political initiative going?
So you're questioning its effectiveness. Is it going to succeed, or is it going to just fade away?
And you can even apply this to self-reflection. Application 5, personal habits.
How so?
Well, you can say to yourself, I've been staying up until 2 a.m. every night watching terrible reality TV Where is this habit going?
You're asking yourself about the negative consequence of that routine,
Yeah.
identifying a trajectory you need to correct.
Exactly. And one more, application 6. Meetings. This is so useful at work when a meeting has no clear objective.
We've all been in that meeting.
Oh, yes. We've been debating the color of the new logo for an hour now. I still don't know where this meeting is going.
You're demanding clarity. What is the destination of this conversation? The structure, where is this noun going, is just a universal way to ask about potential and future development.
It is. Okay, next structure.
When the girl in the scene felt her commitment was being rejected, she started to suggest a necessary change. She said, well, maybe it's just time we.
Maybe it's just time we.
This is a phrase you use to introduce a suggested action, because the current circumstances are obviously failing or have just run their course.
And it's incomplete. It always needs a following verb or action.
Its function is to suggest something that's often difficult or inevitable, or maybe long overdue.
And the key linguistic component is that combination of maybe, which suggests reluctance, and just time, which implies the moment for action is finally here.
The current situation is unsustainable, so it is just time to move on.
Right. Let's explore 6 completion examples to show how versatile it is.
Okay, completion 1.
Yeah.
Ending a situation. In the dialogue, she was implying.
Break up. Maybe it's just time we break up. This is used when the current structure is failing and separation is the necessary next step.
And it's also useful for a long overdue professional change.
Definitely. I've been unhappy in this role for 3 years. I'm getting nowhere. Maybe it's just time we look for a different company.
See, the current circumstance dictates the necessary action.
But it doesn't always signal an end. It can signal progress, too.
Like in a long-term relationship?
Exactly. We have lived in separate apartments for 5 years. Maybe it's just time we move in together.
It also works for mundane habits, like completion 4.
Health habits. I keep hitting the snooze button and rushing every morning. Maybe it's just time we start waking up 30 minutes earlier.
Or for necessary repairs around the house.
Perfect for that. That leaky faucet is wasting water and making noise.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just time we call a plumber.
And finally, making a decision in a long meeting.
Yes, we have analyzed all the data. We can't postpone this decision. Maybe it's just time we choose the vendor and move forward.
So remember the structure. Maybe it's just time we verb action. It's just a natural and persuasive way to suggest a necessary, maybe difficult change.
Okay, our next phrase. When the girl was preparing for a possible breakup, she acknowledged their positive history.
She did. She said, we've had our laughs.
We've had our laughs.
The core meaning here is, we have experienced our good times. We have happy memories together.
Right. It acknowledges the positive parts of the past, often as a kind of emotional buffer before delivering difficult news about the future.
And linguistically, the use of the present perfect tense, we've had, is important.
It is. It signifies experiences that started in the past but are relevant to the present moment. It often implies a sense of completion or closure.
And the power of this phrase is that you can summarize a whole relationship just by changing that last noun, laughs.
Exactly. Let's expand this structure with 5 really versatile variations.
Okay, variation 1, ups and downs. This is the classic, balanced way to summarize a long-term partnership, isn't it?
We've had our ups and downs. It means you've shared both successes and challenges. It shows a mature assessment.
And variation 2, our moments. This one feels a bit softer.
It is. It focuses on the peak memories, the special, significant times you'll remember. We've had our moments. They could be funny, romantic, emotional, but they stood out.
What about the negative side? Variation 3, our issues.
This focuses exclusively on the difficulties and problems you've faced. We've had our issues. You often hear this in a professional or therapeutic setting to acknowledge chronic problems.
Similar to that is difficulties.
Right. Variation 4, difficulties. It's a bit more formal. It works well when you're summarizing a challenging project. The 2-year construction project was successful, but we've certainly had our difficulties.
And finally, a simpler one. Variation 5, good times.
This is just a more direct synonym for laughs. It focuses purely on the enjoyable parts. Even though the company closed, we've had our good times working together.
So the structure, we've had our plural noun, lets you quickly summarize the history before you make your main point. It's a really useful piece of conversational etiquette.
It is.
Okay, before we transition to the sweeter side of conversational English and dive into pet names, I just want to take a moment to talk to you directly. If the pacing of this deep dive, this balance of slow repetition and deep analysis, if it's helping you absorb these crucial conversational structures, please Take a second right now to like this video. And if you're not already, make sure you subscribe to the channel.
Your support is so vital. Subscribing tells us exactly which topics are most helpful to you so we can keep delivering these in-depth deep dives.
Yes, thank you for making us a part of your learning journey.
And now it is time for you to practice and solidify one of these structures. We want you to really internalize the structure for suggesting change because it's just so useful.
We want you to comment below using the structure. Maybe it's just time we.
Think about something you should do in your own life. It could be a professional change, a personal resolution, or something simple and fun.
Yeah, for example, you could write, maybe it's just time we start exercising more regularly. Or maybe it's just time we visit that country we have always dreamed of.
Keep your answers simple and clear. This is the perfect way to practice using this structure in a low-pressure environment.
We really love seeing your examples in the comments, so give it a try. And now, on to section 3, where things get significantly sweeter.
Or perhaps cheesier, depending on your personal taste.
Okay, we heard the couple use the words honey and baby a lot in their emotional exchange.
We did. And this brings us to the linguistic category of pet names.
This is a point that causes serious confusion for English learners. When we talk about pet names here, we are absolutely not talking about the names we give our animals, like Fido or Mittens.
That is a very important clarification. Correct. Pet names, in this context, are personalized, sweet, endearing names or titles used exclusively for romantic partners.
Or sometimes close family or children.
Yes. They're used to show affection and signal deep closeness or intimacy. They are substitute names.
They really function as a shorthand for an emotional connection, don't they? They
Yeah.
replace the formal name when you're speaking lovingly to someone.
Exactly. And English uses a huge array of these names. Some are very standard and universally accepted.
And others can be seen as, well, overly sweet or even cheesy.
Right, depending on the company and the context. Let's start with the standard, extremely common examples that you will hear all the time. These are safe to use.
Okay, standard pet names.
Baby. As we heard in the dialogue, this is maybe the most common, especially in American English. It signifies deep intimacy.
Honey, another foundational term. You often hear it shortened to just hon. It's sweet and often used really casually. Hey, honey, did you pay the bill?
Sweetheart. This is a classic, very gentle term of endearment. It suggests that you see the person as kind and lovable.
Darling. This one's often considered a little more formal, maybe slightly British in its feel, but it's still widely used and always signals deep affection.
And then you have sweetie or cutie. These are short, friendly, very common, and sometimes used not just for partners, but for close family members as well.
Okay, now for the fun category. The cheesy or highly personalized names.
Right. These are generally reserved for private use between a couple because using them in public might cause a little bit of embarrassment.
These often draw from nature, food, or just whimsical ideas.
A lot of them reference food because food is universally pleasurable. So you hear things like sweetie pie, honey bunny, sugar plum.
Or even dumpling.
Right, implying cuteness or softness. I think the use of food names comes from the idea of something precious, nourishing, and desirable.
Sweetie pie is definitely sweet, but yeah, it carries a higher risk of public eye rolling.
And then there are names that are just kind of nonsensical, like Snooks, which is an older, whimsical term, or Muffin.
And sometimes we borrow from fictional characters, like Pooh Bear or Tiger. These customized names create a unique linguistic territory between two people.
That's the key function of a personalized pet name. It's a sign that you are inside the emotional circle and others are outside. When a couple invents their own language, they're reinforcing their unique bond.
So for English learners, the takeaway is this. Standard names like honey and baby are safe bets if you hear a food name or an animal name.
The couple is likely very close and very comfortable with each other.
Now for the really fun part. Connecting this English custom to the linguistic habits of your native language. Because when we try to translate pet names literally, the results can be, well, surprising.
And often hilarious in English. The source material gives two fascinating examples that really highlight this cultural difference.
Okay, so take the example from Stanish. A sweet, affectionate name sometimes used is gourd or gorda gorda.
Which literally translates to fat.
Can you imagine the scene in English? If the girl in our dialogue had called her partner fat, that would be a catastrophic "can we talk" moment.
It would. The literal translation completely loses the cultural sweetness and context of endearment. In Spanish, the term means more like chubby or cuddly. It implies comfort and warmth.
The intent is affection, even though the word is just a physical description.
And another brilliant example is from French. A term of endearment is sometimes ma poussée,
Which literally translates to my flea.
my flea. In English, a flea is a tiny, irritating, parasitic insect. We do not associate insects with romance.
Not at all.
But in French, it's a very sweet and recognized term of affection, likely referencing something small and precious.
These examples really show how deeply cultural language is. The feeling being expressed, intimacy, affection, is universal.
But the words used to express it are radically different and non-transferable across languages.
So we want to hear from you. This is our second comment request.
Please comment below with common pet names from your native language, and if you can, tell us what that word translates to literally in English.
Yes, we have already seen fat and my flea, so surprise us with the weird and wonderful ways love is expressed in your language.
We really look forward to your cultural insights. We have navigated some truly tricky linguistic terrain today.
We really have, from high drama to the sweetness of pet names.
Okay, that was an incredibly thorough deep dive. Before we conclude, let's do one final slow-paced review of the core structures.
Good idea, just to make sure they're firmly fixed in your memory.
I will repeat all the main phrases we studied today, clearly and deliberately. First, the distinction in love. I am in love with you.
Romantic, intense, a fixed state.
The serious conversation starter, can we talk?
That's the red flag. It signals a serious topic that needs immediate attention.
The phrase to check or assume understanding. You know what I mean.
And remember, rising tone is a question. Falling tone is a statement.
The universal query about the future. Where is this relationship going?
Which can be applied to careers, projects, anything with a trajectory.
The structure to suggest necessary change. Maybe it's just time we,
Always followed by a verb suggesting the current situation has to end.
acknowledging shared history. We've had our laughs.
Or ups and downs or moments.
And finally, two key common pet names for your romantic partner. Honey, darling.
We covered a huge amount of conversational ground today. We really hope you feel much more confident using these emotionally charged phrases.
And before you go, please make sure you have liked this episode, subscribe to the channel if you found this analysis helpful.
And visit our associated website for any further learning materials or transcripts. We deeply appreciate your support.
And finally, let me leave you with one provocative thought that builds on that opening scene.
Okay.
We focused entirely on the words. The phrases like, can we talk, and I'm so sorry. But when you use phrases that carry such serious emotional weight, the nonverbal communication is equally essential.
That's so true. The words are only half the battle. You have to think about how you deliver them.
Right. That apology only lands if your tone is sincere and your body language isn't saying, I do not appreciate this conversation.
So when you're discussing a serious topic or offering a deep apology, consider, is your tone calm and steady or rushed and aggressive?
Are your hands open, signaling honesty, or are your shoulders tense, signaling resistance? The delivery defines the message.
Use your new knowledge of these structures, practice them, and think critically about the conversation you're having, both with your mouth and with your body.
Thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive. We hope to see you back here soon, feeling well-informed and ready to use your new English skills with confidence.
Bye for now.